Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out Terrible Tiny Traps by developer Alan Hazelden. This is what I'm calling a micro-massacre platformer, and what I mean by that is it is a very minimalistic, simplistic platformer that is also very difficult. And as you'll see by the graphical style, it is, like I said, very minimalistic, and I want to bring us back to the example that I brought up the other day when we talked about lasers, which was a game that essentially had very little going on in it, but what was there was very polished and worked very well, and as a result, ended up being quite a compelling experience. I find this to be very much along the same lines, although maybe a little bit of a different style of experience, and you might not necessarily find it to be to your liking, but you kind of have to like difficult stuff anyway, and, well, I don't know, I have a taste for Super Meat Boy, so it's not a huge stretch to imagine that I might get into something like this. Anyway, why don't I hit new game, and then I will continue to talk about it as we go. So, as you probably saw as I was doing the opening, we got kicked down from that door at the very top left of the screen, and our character kind of rolled down all the way to the bottom left corner, and we find ourselves in a bit of a conundrum here where we need to collect all of these little swirlies in order to open the way back up to get to the top. So, in a way, I know this is not probably the appropriate word to use, but it's got a little bit of like a Metroidvania element in that you do need to get some items to alleviate the progress gating that's going on your way from one point to another. And of course, on the way, there will be a little bit of a reveal in the form of some sweet music that's going to kick into play. And right here, it sounds a lot like a Sega Genesis game, which I absolutely love. The music actually goes a long way to giving this a lot more polish. Because right now, I mean, it might not be everybody's cup of tea to have a stick man made out of like 7 pixels, but, I think it works just fine. Really all we need is just a sense of where we're at and where we're going, and I think looking at this on the whole kind of gives you a little bit of a feeling like it's maybe some kind of abstract expressionist work if you just sort of see this whole level laid out in front of you. It also reminds me a little bit of that game Tiny Worlds that I played a long time ago, and I think the thing that goes a long way to making this seem a little bit more modern is that you can see everything all happening at once, and you kind of work your way through it, whereas a lot of the time in the past, well, there weren't too many elements all happening because of memory constraints and stuff. Now we don't really have that issue as much, and we can play with some bigger ideas using some very lo-fi resources, and I think that works really well. Especially the fact that this game is very consistent in its color palette. If you look, the blacks are not true black, it's like a little bit more like a charcoal. Oranges are a little bit like kind of grayed in. Everything's got a little bit of like a gray blended into it, which gives it a softer quality. Instead of it being just harsh. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm buying time here while I talk instead of doing the platforming element, which is actually a little bit tricky here. We've got to get, yeah, alright. Got to get over and under and over and under. And the other thing that really goes far to make this an entertaining experience is that it keeps evolving like this. And also, it's not incredibly punishing in a way that seems unfair. Sort of like, well, I hate to bring this up in freaking every episode I do of the series, but it's got a little bit of a Dark Souls quality in that you've got all these little checkpoints that go along the way. And although you might get stuck on a certain point in the game, hopefully you'll keep making enough progress that you find yourself moving forward and aren't so frustrated. The one thing that might frustrate some of you, and as did somewhat, to some degree did frustrate me, is that there's quite a few points where you actually need to kind of stop what you're doing and wait. For example, these elevators that seem to be going at various speeds. In this case, I actually have a choice. I can go all the way up to the top, or I can try my luck with that traversal mechanic, and I found that the one above seems almost even harder. I'm not actually sure it's possible. You might have to go this way and maybe come back the other way, but the platform does lift up, which gives me the idea that there might be some branching paths in this case. And in this one, I'm pretty sure what I need to do is, yep, that, and then wait for this to come back, jump over. Oh, okay. It's a lot of complex maneuvering that you have to do with a character that doesn't have the most necessarily articulated movement scheme for the way that it actually handles, but that's alright. Oh god, I messed it up. Alright, you know what I can do? I can just jump in place, and provided I do it fast enough, it won't actually get in the way. The developer is giving you a bit of a vote of confidence in that they kind of expect you not to mess up the first jump too much, but the middle jump you'll mess up more often, so it actually throws the timing back in your favor if you are screwing up in the center instead of at the beginning. Anyway, it seems like the hallmark of good game design to me when you see stuff like that going on. Yeah, alright, that was really poor timing. Thankfully, it checkpointed right before that block. But it seems like all of these individual little motions were considered and were taken account, account was taken in for them. And that's, oh, what on earth was that movement I just did? I fell off the block, got back on it, fell off again, got back on it. I guess I can stand on that little pixelated edge. But anyway, as you can probably see, I'm having a fantastic time with this game, despite the fact that there's very little actually, graphically to grab you. It just does a good job of being entertaining, and that's really all I ever asked for from a game. So, if anything, if there's a lesson to be had here, it's that if you feel inspired by a concept, whether that be something as simple as a tricky platforming game, or whatever really comes to mind, you don't necessarily have to go crazy to execute that concept. If you have something like this in mind, it might work just fine. And I really would have a great time with something like this, even elaborated upon further. As it is, this is probably a nice little bite-sized chunk, but if somebody made a game like this that was 8 hours long, I would probably play it. Or at least I would give it my best shot. If it got really frustrating or something, that might be a different story. Now, I'm not sure actually how I'm supposed to proceed. I think I might have to stand in that corner there, but I can't really do that for long because of the block that keeps moving back and forth. I was kind of hoping I could maybe hook my character by his armpit or something on one of these edges, but no, he does seem to have a rectangular bounding box. I think I know what I have to do. It's just a bit tricky to execute. Like I said, the controls are not the most articulated, but I don't actually fault the game for that. It actually feels consistent with the theme of what we're looking at in this case. Yeah, I think I have about 1 pixel's leeway with this, so provided I can get up around that edge, I should be able to just force that last... Yeah, there it is. That last bit of his foot seems to just shoot back up. And now we've added, I think, another element to the music track, which is awesome. I really love that the music keeps evolving like this and more little pieces go into motion. You'll see that platform over on the left now has kicked in, and it's also letting us get down into that pit, which we couldn't do before. So I guess that does mean that we can go that way, although I might have to come back from the other side. I'm not sure. I like figuring out things like this. I like that this is sort of like a little emergent maze that we've got to work our way through using a little bit of, craftiness, and obviously trial and error is also a huge factor here too, so if you don't like that kind of a gameplay element, then you might be a little frustrated, but I find it just perfectly entertaining myself. Oh, alright, we're still good. Wait for it again. Okay, jump, and wait for it to come back. There might have been an easier way for me to... Oh god, what did I do? Why would I do that? Jump forward 1. And... that might have been early, but no, alright, I screwed it up. Now I gotta do the whole jump again. Anyway, you know what? I'll leave this to be a really short episode, so I don't want to spoil the entire thing, and also if the music does kick up one more time, there actually may be another 1 or 2 more things that start to happen as we get higher up. But I'd like for you to experience that on your own. See if you can beat this game. It's really fun. Again, I know I said this already in some capacity, but this is kind of inspiring to me personally in that I would love to make something like this, and I feel like it's not within the realm of it being impossible. Now, seeing that someone could provide this much entertainment from such a simple concept. Anyway, I feel like I'm kind of going around in circles a little too much, so I guess I will let you go for another day. Go check this game out. It's going to have a link in the description, totally free to download. You can even play it in your browser if you'd prefer, so you don't have to get involved with downloading things if you don't like. You can also check out some of my other information, stuff about me, stuff about the show, and all of that in the description, stuff like my Facebook, my Twitter, my Twitch page, and of course my website, indie-impressions.com, where I've got over 700 episodes in the series, all categorized neatly for your perusal, so if there's a particular type of game or a payment style or platform you'd like to search the games by, you can feel free to go check out a ton of stuff. You can find hours and hours of me rambling about all kinds of gameplay elements and such. So, with that, I will leave you for another day. Thank you so much for watching. As always, make sure you come back again tomorrow. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think about this game. And even consider leaving some support in the form of a like if you'd like, because I greatly appreciate that. And of course, if you'd like to see some more, come back again tomorrow. Because like I said, new episodes every single day. So, see you later. Thank you again for watching, and have a fantastic night.